stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
Really? That's neat.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Roll call, please, Pam.
Mayor Grimminger.
Here.
Alderman Skaggs.
Here.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Here.
Alderman Stupi.
Here.
Alderman Jokers.
Here.
Alderman Steiger.
Mayor, he's in Phoenix, Arizona on business.
Alderman Okenthus.
I'm here.
Alderman Ross.
Here.
Alderwoman Brimfield. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval agenda.
Move approval. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I think we'll go all the way down to the city administrator's report.
Okay, as you know, I took a couple of days off, and when we moved the meeting up a couple of days, it was kind of a perfect storm for me not to get a city administrator's report to you in time for Pam to distribute the packages. So I placed one with other information that I'd like to discuss tonight at each of your places. First of all, as a result of a letter that I sent to the Corps of Engineers, we got a call from Dennis Gilmore with the Corps, who's kind of the head now of the St. Genevieve project, and he asked if Colonel Hall could come down and meet with us. So we met with Mr. Gilmore and Colonel Hall to talk about a couple of things. One was the permission to spend money that was set aside for flood control on projects to which the Corps would agree. That expenditure then, assuming we work out our other issues with the Corps of Engineers, would be credited to us as our local share. And they basically said that can be done, although it's going to require some documentation that isn't currently in place. The second question we talked about was revising the funding formula, which they've already told us they think requires legislative approval. But we told them that there were elements of work that's been done over the years for which the city had never received any compensation or credit, and that maybe we could get credit for that. They weren't totally negative, but they were less positive about that because there's been some changes in the law since the project was originally approved. We suggested that maybe we should be given consideration under the rules that were in place at the time the agreement was signed rather than rules that are in place now, and they're going to consider it. I think my overall impression, and the mayor can chime in here, is that they really want to find a way to work things out. At least the colonel does. You know, he's on the second year of a 3-year stint. He's got this inherited this problem, and I think he'd like to see it solved before he leaves. And that's just a feeling I got. He didn't say that. And if that's true, then perhaps progress will be made in the next several months towards getting issues resolved so we can move forward. If they allow us to do certain work, they did say that whatever they value the work would be the credit we would get, regardless of what it costs us to do it. So if we did a bridge work and got donated materials, that wouldn't reflect in the actual cost of the project. They would value it as though we had to purchase those materials. So with that in mind, we may be able to get to a point where even at the 75-25 formula, the numbers work. So some progress is being made along those lines. I'll let Alderman Ross tell you about the sign committee. In this packet of things that I distributed to you is when I got back, the agreement from the Special Road District was in my mailbox. You haven't had a chance to review it. I have reviewed it. I'd like to point out a couple of things to you, and that's this. It says joint agreement, so you can't miss it. In item number 1, they have indicated that they want the funds that they give us to be used for a through street, and it's defined as a primary artery which connects to or is the continuation of a Special Road District A maintained roadway. How many of those are there think that it would, one,
No, one or two.
well,
State roads count.
Fourth Street is. No, it's a special road district maintained road. So the only one I can figure is Fourth Street.
4th Street, St. Mary's.
Except
Well, where do they maintain?
No, because that hits
Main.
a state highway,
Yeah,
so.
that's-
So I think that's a limitation that is,
About the Limekiln Road, and it's not completely a through street, but,
Walder there.
huh?
That's hooks to Walder, I guess. Limekiln Road and Walder.
well, they maintain Creek Road.
Well, Creek, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
Creek Road, so not Limekiln.
Yeah, but they just did that.
I know, but where,
Yeah,
where,
but it's
where,
our
but if,
zoning road.
you know, Wilder then would become maybe one that connects to,
To
this
the
is,
street.
this is language that's different from what I had proposed to them and a lot more restrictive. The project, the next sentence is projects upon which these funds shall be expended shall be determined by the district after consultation with the city. I guess we're supposed to go to them and say, these are the roads we want to do, and then they'll sign off on it before we do them. They want us then to provide evidence that the money was spent for those roads, and they want the ability to audit, whatever that means, our expenditures. Item 4 on the second page says that the funds must be expended within the calendar year of the donation. And then down on item 5, that to them, I guess it means 2012, and they're going to give us, and the money's made available to us on or before April 15th. Well, we kind of missed that. So I'm not sure what you think is an appropriate response to this.
How much money are they gonna give us? There ain't even a dollar amount in
That's,
there.
that's true.
I mean, that's the first thing to me is, this is nothing until they give you a dollar amount.
John,
We know-
you do have to remember, though, we are the ones asking them. There is no obligation for them to do anything. You know what I mean? They can say, hell with you guys, I don't want to give you an agreement.
Well, can't we say hell with them and get rid of them?
Well,
It's not that simple.
There's more to it.
Yeah.
there's a lot more, probably a lot more to that, and I don't
There'll
know
be
if
something.
we have that answer yet tonight.
Well, the dollar amount certainly is an obvious one.
And that they
Yeah.
probably ought to give us streets that they consider through arteries,
Yeah.
Ask for their idea on that.
if they're gonna stipulate that. What's the streets?
Tell us.
Well, I think those are two reasonable responses to this.
I mean, it's something to start. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be a lot more work, but.
All right, I'll draft a written response that says how much, even though we know what they budgeted, but it should be in the agreement, obviously. And we don't, you know, just tell us what streets you're thinking about here, and we'll put those in the agreement. And there's a provision in here that it's to be renewed, assuming everything works out, that they have the option to renew the commitment for the next calendar year. That's kind of an obvious statement. But, okay. The engineer's revisions to the cemetery plat are included in there. This is the revisions that occurred as a consequence of changing the length and width of the plots according to the committee's recommendation. We ended up with 732 plots with this new configuration. You will recall we changed the length from 12 feet to 11 feet, and we made it 4 1/4 feet wide instead of 4 feet wide. The old plat, it had 436 plots, so we lost 4 plots as a result of the reconfiguration, so there was not a major impact on it. And this is, you know, we would approve the amended regulations, and I'll get the surveyor back out and kind of restake it so we can start selling plots out of this plat. Assuming this meets kind of your expectations and approval. Unless you have the other plat to look at, it's almost the same thing.
Well, you know, it's gonna meet the needs, you know, after talking to some of the mortuary and monument people and everything. The width and the length will fit the needs better. So I think this is really good.
Okay, well, then we'll proceed with getting the record plat from him to record, and then Frank and I will work on amending the regulations to be in the form of covenants to be recorded when the plat is recorded, and then everything will be as we had discussed it should be. I met with Bear, the engineer, at his office when I was there for the air quality meeting. We went over the Westwood plat. They were starting working on the Portis plat. They came and met with me and Terry and Dave and the crew at Westwood, and we walked it. We talked about what we're going to do with sidewalks, with driveways and how we were going to work everything out. So I think everybody's on the same page. And he said that Westwood and Portis should be both available by the end of the month. He could push out Westwood ahead of that. We're only going to bid them one at a time. The kind of question that I think we need to discuss is in what order do you want to do these? We have the funding to do both. Our revenues have been as we expected, so actually a little better than we expected in the transportation fund. So we are able to proceed. Do you have any?
I would think you would do the high traffic area first.
Well, how long has Westwood been waiting for this road?
3 years.
I mean, you're.
Portis has been waiting the same amount of time.
What are we talking about time?
Let's benefit all the
Yeah, what is
citizens
the
of St.
time frame?
Genevieve.
What is the time frame of how soon could they get to the other one after the
They
first?
both be done this construction season.
People on Westwood will use Portis. People on Portis probably won't see the end of Westwood.
Probably the people on Westwood pay more taxes.
The people that travel Portis definitely pay more taxes.
Well, it would probably depend on who got the bid. If the same contractor got the bid, then you'd have to tell him, do one or the other first. But if two separate ones did it, they could be doing it at the
Depends on how
same
fast they
time.
could do it.
No,
you know.
we're probably just talking weeks
Yeah.
apart
Yeah.
anyway. I mean, I don't think
Right.
it's gonna be that big of an issue.
No.
I think, if I remember correctly, Westwood was at the top of the previous
Yep.
board's list to do, and then if we had the funds to be able to do Portis, we were at least gonna get the engineering done, and if we had the funds to do it, then we were gonna go ahead and do it, so
Well, we did spend extra engineering funds on Westwood, which that certainly
Yeah.
isn't helping our street problem.
No, but I don't know, Westwood will take maybe a little longer than Portis,
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
take long.
so.
Do we have any idea how they're going to implement that
Well,
street?
we didn't
So
discuss
how-
it for Portis, we did discuss it for
For
Westwood,
Westwood.
because I told them that we had to keep the street open. There was no way
That's what I,
to have parking on Market and expect those people to walk to their houses. So it'll be something the contractor will have to do. It will affect the bid, but he'll have to do it a half at a time. And what he'll probably do, because he can tear out the whole street in one day, and then he'll have to put back in one gravel lane for them to use while he's doing the rebuild on the right half, so they'll be using the left half of the road.
those are some
And
questions.
driveways for people to pull in to get into the driveway. So it's a hassle for the contractor,
Yeah.
but I think it's a necessary one because there's just no solution.
It's a dead-end street, it has to be that.
Well, wouldn't it be the same for both though? You
Yeah,
got all
both.
the people in them apartments.
Now,
where
you
you
got
gonna
those
park?
apartments in Portage.
Yeah, we can do Portis, front half and back half,
Yeah,
not
couldn't
side
they
to
still
side.
get out?
Oh,
But
okay.
in with Westwood, you
Like
can't
the
get out on the
downtown.
other end, so you have to do it.
On Westwood, I guess the discussion, he's taking into consideration the sewer issue, easement, all that stuff that we've
Well,
faced in the past.
Terry has shot the sewers, we're convinced that that sewer is in good shape. We don't need to make any sanitary sewer changes for that to continue to function properly.
Okay, well, we can talk afterwards, but I know there's certainly one owner there that's gonna be concerned about that issue that's had backups before.
This does not include resolving that issue.
Okay. We can talk afterwards about
Okay.
that.
The next thing that you'll have in front of you is a schedule. It's kind of an excerpt from a longer email we received from the state of Missouri. This is the proposed timeline for the state giving us issued notice for us to proceed on the safe routes to school. Pam called Taylor Engineering today to check on the status of the Market Street storm sewer. The engineer that's working on the safe route to school with the state is also preparing the final version of the plans for the stormwater improvements. We expect to bid all of that at one time. And so we're looking here at a June bidding date.
There you go.
When I got back to the office, I had this letter, this request from Hoffman. I knew about it. We've been talking to them off and on about it. I didn't know it was coming in last week. So again, we didn't get it. The second page of this, they would like for us to abandon the right-of-way, which was originally platted to be 2nd Street, that is next to the building that they are rehabbing on Washington. His explanation of why they would want this is in their letter. You have an aerial showing the current condition. There's no pavement. There's nothing there. There never has been anything there. But if you look at the historic plat of the city of St. Genevieve, you will see that it was originally platted. So it shows up in everybody's title work and as being a road right-of-way. The question is whether we should abandon that right-of-way. You would abandon it if you never intend to use it. Otherwise, you would hold on to it. I'm not sure how you would use it or where it was intended to go. Seems to be kind of laid right in the middle of a creek. But and I don't mean to spring this on Frank, but you think this could be accomplished, kind of how we accomplished the one on Mary Ellen, or do you think we need to do the Mary Ellen one? It doesn't show up on the plats. Is there a procedure we need to follow, assuming the board wanted to abandon it right away? And when you abandon a right of way, does the property kind of revert to the adjacent property owners? These are questions I don't have the answer to and may not be prepared to respond to, but those are questions that we need to look into, assuming this is something that you would like for us to pursue.
Well, I don't see where we'd ever need it. No, where it doesn't go anywhere.
Well, I understand this came up a number of years ago. I don't know that it ever made it to the Board of Aldermen.
I don't recall.
But Mr. Hoffman said there were conversations that it never got anywhere.
I think we'd move forward.
Yeah, move forward.
Okay, we'll proceed then. I'll consult with Frank on what the proper procedure is, and we'll bring it back to you at a future agenda. Finally, the micro sealing and the sidewalk repair are going to happen sometime the third week of May. We don't have an actual date. We're trying to get the sidewalk done at the same time. We've got the road closed for micro sealing so that you don't have more than one disruption. Timing it so that it's after graduation. Alderman 050812.avi asked me a question about sweepers cleaning the streets. And that is not part of the proposal, so we're going to need to take care of that before they come in to microseal. And then the county has not committed to a time, but the month that they want to do the chip seal is in August.
After Georgia Pitt.
No, it's just, I was gonna
Well,
say. Let's hope it's
Is
not
it
that
their
weekend.
discretion?
yeah, it won't be in the downtown. Will be done. This will be the subdivision streets that we do.
So that's micro seal, that's right. Yeah.
So that concludes my report.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Down there on the pergola down by Main Street and Merchant Street, is the city authorized to chip that sidewalk up and remove that?
Yeah, the city owns it.
No, I mean, is the city workers,
We
they're,
could repair it.
yeah, but can they, because they asked me, they're like, well, we haven't got the authorization to do it, and I was like, well,
Well, I haven't told them to do anything at
Okay.
this point.
so, when do you expect that to be?
Well, actually, that's one of many areas that need to be done. If the board thinks that that's an area that needs to be done sooner than later, we can do it at any time.
I don't think it'll take very long.
Well, it takes a couple of days.
Is that it? I didn't-
Right, I couldn't hear it all.
The sidewalks around the pergola have heaved badly.
Mhm.
And so
Yes.
if we're going to be fixing the pergola and encouraging people to use it, the question is,
Oh.
should we go ahead and repair that section of the sidewalk? It needs repaired, no question, as do many areas around downtown because of the tree roots pushing up the trees. I think it could be argued that that would be a priority given the amount of downtown work that people are going to have downtown in the next several months. But there's problems on Market Street down by Second and there's a list of them that all need repair at some point. So if you want me to go ahead with that, I'm certainly prepared to do that.
Do we need to, I mean, as far as budget goes, how's that gonna affect, even if we do it ourselves?
Would
It's
they,
an
would
expenditure
they
that
have to
comes out of our
replace
treasury.
that with concrete? Couldn't they replace, like, just widen that flower bed there, make it wider? Take out that bulging piece of concrete?
Well, that's a possibility.
Well, couldn't you kind of, and maybe I'm wrong, couldn't you lift that out and
Cut the roots out.
cut the roots and put it back in?
There is a machine that you can use that all of the joints aren't through joints. Most of them are saw cut for crack control. But we had a demonstration here. I've seen a video of it, of a machine where you saw cut through and then you lift up the slab and move it over. But I think the conclusion was that it's cheaper just to take it out and re-pour it than it is to, unless you're going to be doing a lot of work with that machine, just coming in for one slab isn't cost effective.
Remember they did that at the post office,
Mhm.
right in front of the post office, so.
Yeah, it still looks good.
But it was, I don't know how cost effective it was, is what I'm
Right.
saying.
And it worked on the exposed aggregate.
They had a little, I mean, I was there most of the time when they were doing it, and they had a little bit of problem getting the suction, but they lifted it out, cut the roots out, put it back in.
They just cut the roots and the trees still live.
I don't know if that tree's still alive. I
Yeah.
take it that it is. I don't pay much attention, but, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that's a problem.
Take out the
Control
whole tree.
trees when they're messing with roots.
I mean, I've heard a lot of good ideas on what could be done down there. I think we need to take a look and see if our options are like exactly what we want to do down there. If we want to put all the concrete back, or I'm trying to set
Bigger flower bed.
bigger flower bed, or what.
Yeah, because it's on the, most of it's on the backside of that, the one bench that faces toward the hotel, and there's not a walkway really through there. You could just almost block all that off into a flower bed.
We need to take a look at it and see what our best option is.
Okay, well, why don't we do that and, you know, bring in pictures and we can decide next week.
How much did we allow anything for sidewalk repair? I don't recall.
It's not a
but-
budget.
That's why I mean, if we just took it out, then it would really just be like a demo kind of.
Yeah, that would be easy.
Mhm.
We can break things out. We're good at that.
Demos.
The other, you know, issue is we don't, Mayor has found some gravel that he thinks closely matches the gravel that was used. You know, a lot of the patches you see, you know, the gravel just doesn't match, because it's hard to, you can't just go to the creeks these days and pull out gravel like you used to be able to. That would be a consideration as well. Maybe removing it would be better than trying to put in a mismatched patch. If it's not a high-traffic area. Anything else?
Staff reports, Terry?
Mayor and Board, you'll get my report at the next meeting. But I'm here to answer any questions or address anything like this.
Thank you.
Staff?
Thank you. Have my report in front of you. Number of visitors to the Welcome Center. With April 1st, we've seen a major increase, both in individuals and groups. We now have the school groups coming in, and we started the sale of passports. So this has greatly increased the funding that we're bringing in as far as for the houses. Don't know if anyone noticed today, we had a classic antique car club come in, so we had over 50 classic Chevys in town. It was really nice. It was 108 people in town. They went to the Bolduc, they ate at the Hotel St. Genevieve, and they did a little bit of shopping. So that was some nice revenue that we had come into town. On my report that shows individual visitor percentages, was reviewing my formulas the other day, and I realized the formulas are the percentage difference that you had previously was 2010 over 2011. I have since corrected it so it shows or reflects the 2012 over the 2011 numbers, and it's a significant increase over the original numbers that you were given. So for the month of April, we are up 12% over 2011, and then for the year to date, we are up 15%. On the budget, our expenses again are far lower than they were for April of 2011. Biggest difference being the marketing expenses are decreased. Web reports, still getting really good numbers as far as hits to the website. Did have a little drop in average visit duration and the percentage of new visits, but we still have solid numbers. And we are still running with these numbers with much less advertising that we have done. So the advertising that we are doing is effective. It is hitting our market. And we see that not only on the website hits, but also in the visitors to the Welcome Center. We had the Col de Soldat was held the last weekend in April. Had great turnout. We had over 50 visitors in period clothing walking around downtown on Saturday. The seminars on Saturday were full, all 3 sessions. I actually had to run over to the Bolduc House to get more chairs. Sunday did not have the same turnout as on Saturday, and a lot of the actors wound up leaving early because their homes were hit by that storm that had the large hail in St. Louis. So a lot of them kind of packed up a little early so they could get home to assess their homes and property. One really nice thing that the Milice de Saint Famille did for us this year, in appreciation for the assistance that my staff and I have provided and the city has provided in resources, they gave a $250 donation to the St. Genevieve Welcome Center, and I have that. I'll give that to you later, Pam. And it was greatly appreciated. It was very nice of them to do. They certainly didn't have to do that. Also, we have 2 events coming up. May 19th and 20th, we have the Master Gardener's Garden Walk, and the Root Divin will have their progressive dinner. And I have 2 new things that I would like to add. I did not have these at the time I did the report. Rand McNally and USA Today have a contest every year called Best of the Road, and we have been nominated for one of the cities on the Best of the Road. We posted everything on Facebook today for voting, so we're asking people to go and vote daily for St. Genevieve on Best of the Road. And this comes from, kind of goes back to the budget travel, coolest small towns in America. That's how we got on their radar with that. And another thing that I came across and I passed on to the Downtown Renewal Project, a company called Pet Safe. They do pet fences and other pet-related items. Have a contest going called Bark for Your Park, and it is a chance to win $100,000 toward a dog park in your city. So we nominated St. Genevieve, and we are asking for votes. You can vote twice daily, and that's going to run through June 13th. So very excited about those 2 opportunities, and hopefully be able to get some extra funding. And definitely with Best of the Road with Rand McNally and USA Today, we're going to get a lot of exposure that we couldn't pay for, or we couldn't afford to pay.
How do you do the voting on those 2 items?
I have both of them are linked to our Facebook pages on the internet, and then I know that I spoke with Toby, and he's going to have them in the newspaper as well on where to go to vote online.
Thank you.
And would you repeat our website for those who may be listening?
Our website is visitstgen.com. Any other questions? Yes.
During the summer, do you have, I'm just curious, the businesses downtown, do they have summer hours and winter hours?
Yes. Most of the businesses in the downtown have, including the houses, the historic homes, they alter to the winter hours in that they'll either be closed certain days or they will shorten the time that they're open. For example, the Felix Valley was closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday during the wintertime, and the Jockey Board House was closed. Some of the businesses closed during the month of January, so they went on vacation or, were taking care of other business. Because they normally, we do not have the amount of business. This year was an exception due to the nice weather that we had so early. But we did have businesses that were closed.
Because I know a group that come down a few Sundays ago and was disappointed how many was closed on Sunday.
It's a complaint I get often about Sundays and Mondays.
They let me know about it when I went in Monday.
Yep.
All over downtown. I said, hardly nothing was open. Well, fit different Taiwan.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something that's been brought up, but it's kind of it runs along that chicken and the egg. Do they open, and it's a lot of overhead if there isn't business, and they're kind of running on a lean margin anyway.
I realize it, but I see a lot of people walking around.
Oh, I know, I do too.
Is that a group, John?
No, it's just, they come down and,
Would they open for like a group that if they came in off-season?
Some will.
I'm just curious.
Some will, and for example, today, with the group that we had coming in with the Chevy group, I made sure that the downtown businesses knew, because we do have some that are not open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday still. So I was sure to let them know, because I knew they would be stores of interest to this group,
Right.
and that it would be beneficial for them to be open as a result. So
You got contact.
we have been much more, the Welcome Center has been working much harder to make sure that the businesses are aware when we do have groups coming in. But there are a lot of times that groups will come in and we just don't know about them.
Yeah, that's difficult if you don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. I haven't gotten that psychic thing down yet. I'm working on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Any committee reports?
Yes, ma'am. On the sign committee, we met and we looked at 3 different designs, or we selected one that we're going to pursue a little farther. We made some changes on it. And we're going to have new copies with our changes at our next meeting. And we talked about placement of the signs. I think we came up with, what, 14 or 16?
I thought it was 14.
14 places that we're going to look at.
Now, the
And our next meeting will be next Monday.
cost estimate for the signs and the posts is,
160.
that's 160 per sign.
Right, with them installing it, so we're getting a bid on that. If we install, how much can we save? So,
$160
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
around $2,000 for the whole package.
Is that all?
we're doing good, man. We're
Ain't
saving
bad,
money
man.
for you.
Well, from the community foundation, that's well within the money that,
But
they
anyway,
had sitting there.
we'll have some designs and be able to show these in the future. Let you take a look at them.
That's
That's
great.
all I have to say.
And these are these are permanent.
Yeah, what
They
was
last for years, right?
Metal.
What was the name of that material?
Reflective. It's a brand name, it's just a metal.
Right,
metal sign.
Icon or
Okay.
Durabond, I think was the name of it.
Durabond?
Okay. Great, thank you.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Somebody else? Okay, we'll go into the minutes of April the 26th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Resolution 2012-46, a resolution reappointing Barbara Bosler to the St. Genevieve Park Board. Alderman Ross, I think. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2012-47, a resolution reappointing Michael Hankins to the St. Genevieve Tourism Tax Commission.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The resolution 2012-48, a resolution reappointing Jamie Bowman to the St. Genevieve Landmarks Commission.
Motion approved.
Or second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, old business, bill number 3862, second reading.
An ordinance to quit claim the city's interest in a piece of real estate the city of St. Genevieve owns to Mark Nagar.
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call?
Alderman Skaggs.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Yes.
Alderman Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Okenthus.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderwoman Brumfield.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent. Bill number 3862 now becomes ordinance 3791.
Thank you. Bill number 3863, second reading.
An ordinance amending Schedule 2B three-way stop signs of the municipal code and designating an authorized stop sign on Whitehay Street at its intersection of Memorial Drive, both eastbound and westbound.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm still roll call. This has got to be, I'm sorry, roll
Sounds
call.
like
please.
701.
Alderwoman Brumfield.
Yes.
Alderman Okenthus.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Yes.
Alderman Skaggs.
Yes.
Alderman Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent. Bill number 3863 now becomes ordinance 3792.
Okay, thank you. New business, bill number 3864, first reading.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a third-party contract with Missouri Department of Natural Resources and Horner and Schifrin Incorporated for an engineering services report.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, bill number 3865, first reading.
An ordinance amending Schedule 3 parking restrictions, Table 3A, no parking at any time of the municipal code relating to no parking.
Move approved.
Second.
Do we, just a question, I know there was gonna be some discussion with us, with the foundation on the cemetery. Everybody's okay with this? We talked about that.
I'll be brought up at the police chief. is
Eric,
gonna talk to me.
coordinating that.
He didn't need it.
No, there was discussion at the last meeting. I wasn't contacted, I actually didn't contact anybody with that.
Well, maybe we can before the first and second reading, I think.
Okay.
Maybe
Now, I
Bob
wasn't sure
Mueller,
if I was checking on that or if somebody else was. I'll check on that
give
tomorrow.
their input on if that's going to affect
Impact anything.
as far as anything they're concerned.
Okay. Who's a good point of contact?
Bob Mueller,
or,
Hot Kiss.
Top
Okay.
Kiss.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All in favor of the first reading?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public comments, anyone? Okay, other business, we have a street closure request from the St. Genevieve County Community Center for a mini triathlon on Saturday, May the 19th, and they would like to close Progress Parkway beginning at 9 a.m. and should be over around 11 a.m.
Move approval.
Second. I can swim.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any other business? Yes, sir.
Are we gonna look into like tents after the deal in St. Louis? We gonna kind of move forward on something on that? Because we do own one of our own now. And there's probably quite a few to own. I mean, something to think about after the death up there.
You know, on what they're rated to withstand in terms of wind blows.
Well, we ought to kind of watch what St. Louis is doing on theirs, I feel. And at least have something a little bit in place.
I would assume that anytime we use that, our insurance. will
Yeah, but
cover it, but-
insurance just keeps you from being exposed. You still
Right.
want to take precautions.
Sure.
If somebody's in the tents. Let me do some research on the tent that we have, because I really don't know what it's rated at or anything. And then maybe the thing would be establish a protocol for times when we know it's being occupied to get people out of it if conditions are such that they should be out of it. I just don't know what it's rated for.
I mean, it was all different sizes, it's like the Jordy Fest. I mean, there's a lot of tents.
Well, yeah,
Sometimes there's 10 or 15 people in a tent, but I don't know, you gotta take a look at that too, how you're gonna impact. you know,
I can
something
find out,
like
you know,
that.
we know the manufacturer and the supplier for the tent we have, because we bought the replacement tent. As far as tents that might be owned and installed by other organizations, I'll just have to call the Lions Club and Crew Fed Committee and find out what they have and see if we can assist them in doing some research on the conditions. You know, in this case, you know, they had a tent that was rated at 90 miles per hour wind load. It was installed, it was inspected, and it still didn't withstand the storm. So there's a point beyond which you just can't protect.
You get in a decent building, that's what you do. Well, you do. If it's that bad, you don't stay in the tent.
But I think it's
You know, really.
reasonable for us to, as we do many things to protect public safety against people.
Right.
who
I mean,
shouldn't have
they have
sense.
to be, yeah, they'd have to be alerted somewhere.
Yeah, having a sense of
Yeah, that's the big thing, I think.
when's the proper time to tell people to head for
Right.
to get out of the tents, even though it may not be a tornado or
Right.
not a bad thing.
Mayor, you need a closed session.
I don't believe so.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I'd like to
I didn't
thank,
get a second, but I think that maybe there's still some other business, is
yeah.
there?
I'd like to thank everybody that, in Ward 1 that came out and helped clean the creek up, and the scouts. We worked hard in the heat, although there was some snakes and a skunk. And also like to thank Dave's crew for hauling off the leftover stuff.
And they actually pulled a lot more out of it. The vines were just so much.
Yeah.
So it looks nice.
So, and we
So
ain't
far.
done with it, so.
Okay. Anything else? I got a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second? Alderman Ross. Okay, all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Opposed?